Big picture, it's Cook Inlet. As it narrows out to the front, Turnagain Arm. Interesting how it got the name Turnagain Arm. There was this sailor, English guy, his name was Cook, James Cook, Captain Cook. Came to this area in 1776. He was shipwrecked, or doing some repairs on the boat near where Anchorage is now. And some people know this about him. He did these really long expeditions, multi-year, and exploring all over the world, and he was able to accomplish this in part because he was able to keep more of his crew alive than some other captains were. Scurvy was a big issue, not having enough fresh fruit and vegetables and things. Well, he had begun making a potion out of a whole bunch of things, most of which were inert, had no effect on the health, but it did have lime juice in it, among other things. Apparently it was pretty nasty. There was sauerkraut and lots of stuff, and his sailors did not like to drink it, but he forced them to. And that's also how the term limeys came about for sailors. Eventually was, but he was able to accomplish some of these long explorations because he was able to stay alive. But when they were out of the potion, they were here fixing the boat near Anchorage in the springtime, 1776, and they were out of his magic potion that the men did not like. They came aboard and they observed the local people, the indigenous people, called the Dena'ina Athabascan, the ones that lived near Anchorage, and they were picking. Last week they were popping when I went on a hike up here to just where I left. The fresh spruce buds, we call them the spruce tips, but the fresh green, bright green growth on the end of the spruce boughs, well, they're high in vitamin C. And if you pick them when they're fresh before they get sharp and pointy and just eat them, you can kind of taste them. But he didn't know that all they did is they were watching the Dena'ina Athabascan pick them, and they were making tea with it, so they thought, well, good for them, maybe good for us too. So they picked some spruce buds, but instead of making tea, they made beer. The first recorded beer in Alaska was made of spruce buds. And so, and good news, you guys are in Skagway on Monday, not Wednesday. The Millennium alternates Monday, Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday. When you're in on Monday, you stay until 7 or 8 o'clock instead of 3:30. So that opens up opportunities such as the Black Glacier hike, which you hikers, I'll talk to you about it. You would be remiss if you did not avail yourself of that opportunity. 14-mile train ride, the trailhead, 5-mile round trip to the glacier and back. It'd be crazy not to do it. But so you made made the spruce beer, but the Skagway Brewing Company, their biggest seller is a spruce tip ale. They sell a lot of that stuff. And then the next town down 15 miles, Hands Brewing Company, they make a spruce tip as well.
Going back your way
it's
again.
Historical.
Going back up your
Scurvy medicine. So this body of water, the Turnagain Arm, back to Captain Cook. Mr. Cook went exploring up the Turnagain Arm. This is a glacial fjord. It's a valley carved by a glacier, backfilled with seawater. The tide here can change up to 38 feet between the highest high and the lowest low. That is the second highest tidal change in North America. The other one's in Nova Scotia, a little bit higher, Bay of Fundy. I think partly because of the shape, it's so narrow, so when all that water, when the tide's rising and it comes into this deep, narrow valley, it changes rapidly. There are times when you can look across it, it looks like you could walk over to the other side, but you can't and shouldn't. Lots of reasons. One, the tide changes quickly, but also the silt is kind of like quicksand and it can suck you in and not let you go. And it's happened to numerous people. A number of people have perished because they got stuck. So you'll see anywhere where it's easy to access the tide flats, there will be warning signs. But so Captain Cook was exploring, and it must have been low tide. He didn't make it as far, water was lower, and he named this the Turnagain River. See, he was looking for, because he thought it was a river, not salt water. He was looking for the Northwest Passage, which does not exist, so it made it really hard to find. And they'd gone up some other rivers here and there and other passageways, hoping to find the Northwest Passage, which does not exist, and they always had to turn around. Well, they were heading up in here, and then the water got too shallow, and they had to turn again. So here it is, the Turnagain Arm, which he called the Turnagain River. You guys are getting off the ship in Vancouver, correct? George Vancouver, another sailor. Look at all these random bits of information and names starting to come together. George Vancouver was another early explorer and sailor. He was on the ship with Captain Cook when they named it the Turnagain River in 1776. He came back in 1791 with his own vessel, Captain now, and he went further up. He decided he'd look again. Went further up the Turnagain Arm, still looking for that passage, still didn't find it, but he made it a little farther, and he was able to recognize that it was indeed salt water, not a river, and so he changed the name from Turnagain River to Turnagain Arm. Interesting. I agree. I think so. And it's just really, really, really pretty here, isn't this? This is, the interior Denali, I love that stuff, but my favorite is these coastal areas. I love this coastal stuff. Little town called Hope over there, that little gully coming down, flat area. I mean, little, like maybe 100 people, like one bar, one restaurant. But is this pretty much high tide? It's pretty high. It may not be at the very peak, but it's pretty high, because usually when I say looks like, sometimes it looks like you could walk across, you'll see bits and pieces of land out there. I'm not seeing any. It may not be at that high of the 38, but it's at the high end somewhere, yeah. But to get to that little town, Hope, it's like a 90-mile drive from Anchorage. You can be over there camping, look back, and see the lights of Anchorage, but it's so long, so you have to go all the way around the arm and then back the other way. That's actually this Kenai Peninsula where Seaward is. I mean, Seward's south on it, but that is a chunk of land known as the Kenai Peninsula. It's right over there, but to get to Homer is 4 or 5 hours, Seward is 2. And it's so close so far. You can't build a bridge because they've drilled down like 3,000 feet and haven't been able to find anything solid enough to put a piling into. It's just that shifting silt and sand and muck. So no bridge, not deep enough for a boat consistently, so I think we'll just keep going the long way.